We're starting right now. We are no intro. We are going into this. What did you just say? Can you say what you just said
Uh,
again?
the market is overvalued right now. I don't care what metric you take a look at. When you look at especially the U.S. markets, if you say price earnings ratios, for example, in the past, the S&P 500 investing level, if you were in the 20s to 21 times earnings on an annual forward basis or whatever, that was considered high. Now we are almost 2 to 3 times that on average for the S&P 500.
Welcome,
And
everybody. I had to
yeah,
start the recording right now because my technical analysis friend here, George, who we were going to talk about crypto with, just told me the market's overvalued. So
right.
I had to catch that on a video because he's saying it's overvalued. When technical analysis people tell you that, there's problems.
Yeah, so but going forward, it's something to know. It's just that the markets can stay irrational or elevated for long periods of time. And usually it's not driven by the underlying economics.
Yeah.
For example, for the last year, since March, I have been documenting this market move as more of a K recovery. And the idea of the K recovery is sure, the 1% club that owns half the market have done well. Oh, even the 10% club that own 90% of the market have done well. Two examples of that is Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world. Okay. But against that, Main Street, which is the other 90%, that's the lower leg of the K, have not done well. But what's really driving the recovery that's disconnected from the underlying economy? So it's really the ongoing fiscal stimulus that's being created around the world, not only by central banks like the Federal Reserve, but also fiscal policy coming from various governments. And I hate to surprise everyone. If you thought uh, Trump spent a lot of money, I think Biden is going to spend even more. And his first down payment is going to be the 1.9 trillion additional stimulus package that he's going to put in place maybe in the first 100 days. And based on that alone, it's hard to short this market, even though we know it's overvalued. So that's just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
Probably the other aspect of that is the US dollar has continued its slide from the high 100s in the middle of the March sell-off and the beginning of the pandemic, at least in America. And it's sitting at around, it's sitting at around 90 and 3/4. I think it's going to get to 88. And 12 years ago, during the 2008-9 recession, it got as low as 70. So that does mean, even though there's a lot of capital being printed right now into existence on a international basis, that is putting downward pressure on all the fiat currencies. And so it does mean, whether you say the market, whether you say food, energy, commodities like gold and silver, and cryptos are going to be elevated in this period for the next year to 18 months.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, something to be aware of. And you should allocate your streams or investments along those major themes.
Yeah.
So
I think I'll start. I will now introduce you
okay.
with the big, introduction there. Wow. So George Crawford, I'm a good friend of his. He's my technical analysis, crypto options, just guru. I love talking to you, George. And when your technical analysis guy tells you that the stock market's overvalued, you need to listen. Hence why we started the recording a little earlier today, even though we're
Great.
talking about crypto. That's a little shocking to me. So
So,
yeah,
so let's that dollar dropping and all fiat currencies dropping in value will continue to elevate the entire crypto market. Right now, if you look at, there's almost 8,500 cryptocurrencies out there, carrying about $1 trillion in total market cap.
yep,
However, Bitcoin probably carries on average 70% of that, between 65 and 70% of total market cap. And the second largest coin happens to be Ethereum. For folks who are thinking about investing in this space, I say stay very focused on long-term holds in the Bitcoin and the Ethereum space.
yeah,
Now, I teach hedging, and the difficulty with owning Bitcoin and or Ethereum is there's really no practical way for the retail investor to hedge their coins against loss.
I want to know how I used to work in the hedge fund world. We had ways. we would we had ways of VPNing out to short the markets. There's certain brokerages that will allow you to do that, but most of it's international. It's a little tricky, but it's doable, but we don't recommend it.
Yeah, again, for the average, let's say Robinhood trader, that's not a possibility.
Yeah.
So my recommendation at the end of December, as Bitcoin broke out of the 20,000 level and skyrocketed to 42.5 a couple of weeks ago, is to look to do something we call dollar cost averaging. So my recommendation is take part of your monthly paycheck, $20, $50, or some, and continue to buy Bitcoin and or Ethereum on a weekly or a monthly basis. And the idea here isn't to sell the house and get rid of all your other investments, but diversify and nibble into this space. Right now, you have a huge wealth transfer going on where there's a significant amount of investments going on into the crypto space. And for those who are looking for anecdotal stories, I'll give you a couple. Right now, if you look at the S&P 500, by the end of 2021, half of all the S&P 500 companies intend to have Bitcoin on their balance sheets. And they will be transferring, trading, if you will, their US denominated assets like the US dollar, US currencies into Bitcoin directly. So that's a lot of buying pressure. You also have some forward-thinking investors, whether they be part of family offices or maybe they're tech savvy, who are making significant investments in the crypto space. And for those who understand Bitcoin, approximately 140 Bitcoin are mined every day. Yep. So 140 Bitcoin times, let's say the average price is 35,000. That's a lot. Well, there are two companies that buy up all the Bitcoin that are mined every day. One happens to be Square, which is the Cash app, and the other happens to be PayPal, which is the Venmo app. Oh, by the way, why? Because Square has 140 million account holders who want access to Bitcoin. PayPal has 350 million account holders who want access to Bitcoin. And I'm making a bet. By the end of this year, I think every investment house will give access to their clients for direct purchase of Bitcoin. So what do I mean by that? Besides Robinhood, I expect Fidelity, TD Ameritrade. I know one of the platforms I use, Tastyworks, will be there in the next quarter. So watch this space. And dollar cost averaging, again, do this, think 2 to 5% of your cash that you would normally save and put in a bank you might want to put a small percentage of that in the crypto space and try to sit on it. The idea here is if you want to build wealth, think about paying yourself first. And why pay yourself in the US dollar when you know if you hold it for 2 years, it might lose 20% of its value? Why take a 20% pay cut on my income and or my investment? Why would I do that? So again, something to be aware of.
Yeah, I'll say that I looked at my old research before I got onto this call, and I'll say, long term, that's the right strategy. Short term, as of today, we're around $36,000. And
Yes,
George, I've told you this 100 times, but now I'll say it on on video for the record. I feel confident we're going to 60,000, 80,000. I don't mind saying that. I feel quite confident. But once you get to 60, $80,000, you're on your own. It's
right,
chaos, man. We might touch 150K, but that might be for one day, maybe 2 hours at most, and then
right.
expect a collapse. Not maybe back to 36,000, but expect a lot of volatility as the market's figuring out what's going on. And I'll show some charts on that a little later after we go over DeFi. Do you want to talk about DeFi with everybody? I can share my screen.
Yes. So there is one new application area, which is the fastest growing adoption of new coins. So that area is called DeFi, and DeFiPulse.com is a way to see who's investing in what's called decentralized banking. So right now, there's currently $24.8 billion invested in the decentralized financing space. And if you look along the bottom of the screen, you can see they have peer-to-peer lending. That's where I got involved. You have the DEXs, which are the distributed brokerage houses. You also have derivatives. So what do we mean by derivatives? Derivatives are options and futures contracts that allow you to hedge cryptos. We also have payments, so you can pay bills with it. You also have asset tracking and asset management. So if we go back to lending,
I'm sorry, just quickly note, the Lightning networks here, that's the Bitcoin chain, but that Lightning network is a system for transacting smaller amounts of Bitcoin faster. It typically takes 10
yes,
minutes to do a Bitcoin transaction. The Lightning network's trying to change that.
yep. So let's go, just click on all. I want folks to get a real feel for what this means.
So right
Click
here.
on all up at the top, right next
Oh,
to lending, yeah. So if I look at all the recent coins that have been developed in the last 3 to 4 years to take advantage of distributed banking, all of these coins, Uniswap, Maker, Aave, Compound, are all based on the Ethereum blockchain. So this is why I'm telling you to buy both Bitcoin as a store of value, maybe an alternative to gold, but Ethereum as a way to take advantage of the distributed banking apps. You have almost in the world, out of 8 billion people, maybe 2 billion, 2.5 billion people who are unbanked. What does that mean? It means they currently do not have access to ATMs, the US banking system, and or banks in their countries. And so this distributed banking on your phone allows the average citizen in the world finally to have access to, if they want to lend and do peer-to-peer lending. Now, Aave is just one of the lenders that have been in this space. I personally got into the Aave coin in 2017. I think I got into my coin at an average cost of 3 cents. And the last time I checked Aave was sitting at around $180 a coin. So that has been, and it's not done. I expect Uniswap, Maker, compound the top 5x in the next year to 18 months, I think each of these coins has the ability to do another 10x in value and growth. So something to watch. The other thing I like about the Aave coin and Uniswap and Maker is if you decide to be your own bank and you decide to lend, you can get a return of 20 to 30% return on your investment annually. How would you like to do that? Most of us, we put our money in a bank, and what do you get on your savings account? Not much. But if I could use one of these coins and feel comfortable lending on it, or doing payments on it, or even doing asset management. One new area of asset management, Aave is partnering with a DeFi real estate company, and they hope to do mortgages. Are you hearing me? Mortgages on Ethereum-based blockchain today. So think of all the paperwork you ever had to do to buy a house. And now I can do it on a smart contract. I don't know how easy it's going to be, but I think the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a warning. And my warning is back in January of 2018, and Chester, you'll have to do some research on this, was the first time that a company called CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, created futures on Bitcoin.
Yep. I remember.
And
I had
that
just started in the hedge
became,
fund world.
yeah, that became the first time the institutional investors who were scared of Bitcoin, they had an opportunity to short it, and they did. They took it from 20,000 to almost 3,000 or 4,000 this year. Well, right now, scroll the screen down just so that people can see how big this space is. Excuse me, scroll it up. So right now, this space was at about $1 billion in decentralized banking. And in the last 6 months alone, they have skyrocketed to $24.8 billion. Now, if you are using decentralized banking, that does mean you are no longer putting your cash and your value in the traditional banking system like a Morgan Stanley or a Goldman Sachs or a Bank America. Mark my words, on February 8th, 2021, in about 20 days, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is going to create the Ethereum futures contract. Chester, what do you think is going to happen to the price of Ethereum? Or step back, take a look at the market cap tied up in DeFi on that day. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know for sure, but chaos is probably likely.
Well, you had mentioned something. You'd mentioned volatility. The crypto space is not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the unknowledgeable. I happen to be sitting on a couple of coins of Bitcoin in 2015 when it was valued at $237 a coin. And I happened to get rid of half of it at around $18,000 a coin in late December 2017. But on the way, I suffered 3 or 4 pullbacks of 30 or 40% or more. So let me bring it forward to late last year and just what happened 2 weeks ago. Bitcoin pushed through the $20,000 level that had been stuck at underneath for 3 to 4 years. We had a run of 42,000, and then from Sunday to Monday, it dropped to 32,000. That was a 25% pullback in 24 hours. I think Chester's right. I think you might be off by maybe half. I think Bitcoin in this run easily can get to 80,000 or more, but I think we'll see lots of pullbacks along the way.
Absolutely. And I'll show something to everybody that I want to share now. This is my little secret weapon, and it's not even that complicated. You can see where I found the data. This is all off the Bitcoin blockchain. But as consistent as you can be, every single gigantic rise, you can check it out on your own. Every single rise here, here, and here, that isn't the price of Bitcoin there. That's the cost per transaction. If you think of Bitcoin as competing with like a MasterCard, you're pretty much comparing MasterCard, which has a fee, versus Bitcoin that has a fee. And this is its fee in US dollars. Well, guess what? It's starting to rise again. I would expect, just based on basic patterns, that your transaction cost per Bitcoin is going to be way up here. And then when Bitcoin crashes, the cost is going to crash also. This is my favorite indicator of noting when you're in the middle of a bubble. And we are having some good times right now with Bitcoin, but volatility is on its way. We can guarantee it. There's a few things in the world we can guarantee, but volatility in crypto is definitely one of them. So be wary when you jump in here.
Sure. And just to add to that, so one of the areas of decentralized finance, if you click on that, you literally can do what's called wrapping your Ethereum or your Bitcoin and putting it on faster blockchains. So while we're very focused on the Ethereum DeFi decentralized banking space, there are alternative distributed banking space that do not have the fees and have significant performance levels. So while we're focused, I think, on big picture, something, again, to be aware of.
Yeah.
So anyhow, 2021, I expect to be yet another year of abundance. I think there are 5 disruptive areas that the savvy investor should invest in. Artificial intelligence is perhaps one. Genomics, which is the DNA space. In fact, the decoding of COVID was done within 14 days using a new technique called CRISPR.
Yep.
And CRISPR allows you to do gene editing. The other thing they did with CRISPR this year or last year, they solved sickle cell anemia.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
And beta thalassemia. And then in mice, you know that disease that happens to when a young kid looks like a 90-year-old man all wrinkled up? At least in mice, they've eliminated that in a phase 1 trial.
Wow. Wow.
So there are approximately 20,000 diseases that are just one genetic mutation. And now they can go into an embryo or a human or a child and edit that disease away.
Wow.
An amazing, amazing space. So genomics, artificial intelligence, robotics, and we've already talked about crypto and blockchain. Those are 4 that I track, and you can, as an individual, decide if those interests line with your goals. Maybe not only invest in that space, find a job in that space, or do what Chaster's doing, create a solution stack in that space. Be a leader. So 2021 is going to be another fabulous year. I really enjoy doing this. Chaster, thank you for asking me to come back. And for those who want to look at me online, I simply go by Trader Dad. I've been blessed by 5 daughters, and I spend all my time trying to figure out these things I'm telling you, how to manifest in their lives. So again, 2021 is going to be another great year.
George, thanks again for joining me today. I love talking to you about crypto. I need to bring you in again in a few weeks. We just gotta keep talking about investing. I just have so much fun talking to you.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
George
Thanks,
Crawford,
Chester.
everyone. Thank you very much, George.
All right. Great. All right. How was that?
Oh, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. You can be wild and crazy, or you can be straightforward and serious. Both are just, I just love watching you. I
Well,
get
it's
just sucked into watching you talk about investing.
well, you remember that's sort of the role I had at IBM. I was a consultative sales guy. I mean, think about it. My client was CME. I watched these dudes print money. They're still printing money. I bought CME at $80 a share. They're sitting at 120. They bought BACT, a decentralized crypto house.
Oh,
That was
really? Wow.
yeah, oh, Chester, let me explain the game to you. All right. Do not put the, all right. So here's the game. We all think, what, futures and Forex, right? Think about how much is traded in bond futures and currencies on a day-to-day basis. Like right now, let me give you this to you in perspective. Options, they probably trade 2 trillion a day, somewhere on that line. New York Stock Exchange is 1.5 trillion. Guess how much they trade in bonds on a daily basis?
Oh, it must be at least 10 trillion. Is it 10
No,
trillion?
it's like 4 trillion, 3 trillion a day.
Wow.
Okay, guess how much they currently trade in just currencies? US dollar, the big 6 currencies. Guess how much they trade?
I don't know how much.
4 trillion. Okay. So they trade 7 trillion a day in bonds and currencies. Oh, wait a minute. Why do you think I always put that in my music? Right?
Why?
Because as the US dollar goes, you can make an 80 to 90% correlation about where everything else is going to go in response to the dollar. Got it?
Oh, yeah.
That's why you always see me stick it in my music, right? And that's where I start with all my groups. Well, what did the dollar do today? What's the dollar going to do? And so we talk about it all the time, fiscal stimulus, blah, 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 blah. But what actually happens? Well, in the last year, they've printed more currency in circulation than the last 200 years. So what does it mean? So how does that work? Okay, I'll give you an example. March, I go to Kroger. I like Kroger fried chicken. So I'll get the fried chicken. I'll throw some fix in there. I was spending about $20 to get out of there for my Kroger fried chicken lunch. Post-pandemic, about 90 days ago, I go into Kroger. I pretty much buy the same shit, and that bag was $80. I was like, what? What the hell's going on here? So that's all I'm saying. It's U.S. citizens are sort of like boiling frogs in a pot, and the U.S. dollar, I hate to say it did have a nice rise in the beginning of the market collapse in response to the pandemic, but you had institutions that basically fell apart because they were playing hedged, leverage, low volatility trades, right? And they literally got wiped out.
Yep.
So what happens is they have to settle up with the US dollar. And that's why the dollar went from 80, 90 up to the hundreds, but now it's been sort of puking out.
Yeah.
So, but let's go back to who CME is. So there's almost 7 trillion a day just traded in the futures Forex contract. And there's 20 of them around the world today. All right. In America, there's 4 of them. They're all owned by CME. And then when you go out into the country, in the various countries, there's 10 of them that are run and and I don't want to say owned, but they all run on the CME cloud. So it's CME software, it's in the CME cloud, and the CME help desk. So that's and then the other 10, all their help desk and all their software comes from CME.
Yeah.
So you got one entity, and how much do these guys make? Oh, I haven't checked them out in a year or two, but at the time when they were my client on $3 billion in revenue, their net earnings after taxes was $1 billion. So how much in EBITDA did they have to make? Got it? So out of $3 billion, their cost was only, let's say for every $3 of revenue, and their actual operating cost was only $1.
Yeah.
And so is it 48 hours? Wasn't 40 trading, was it trading places? Do you remember at the end of Trading Places,
Yep.
Mortimer and
Yep.
those guys?
They're trying to short orange juice. I think orange juice futures or something like that. Yeah.
But you heard the power of the CME at the end when the whole guy was saying, "Turn those machines back on. Turn those machines back on." And now those futures contract run almost 24/7. They do keep those things turned on.
Wow. I did not actually know that. I didn't know that they actually were 24/7.
Yeah, the futures run until Friday at 4 and they open up at Sunday. So just look at the market movements for the last 3 weekends. And what I noticed specifically in Bitcoin and Bitcoin futures, because I understood the design point.
Yeah.
Bitcoin would run up.
Yep.
Friday they close and the spot market would run up. But as soon as the futures contract, 3 Sundays in a row, they sold off. and it takes 5 Bitcoin to close a futures contract. So what are we talking about here?
Wow.
You're talking 200,000, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe they'll give you margins. Let's say it's 40K. It doesn't matter. The thing is, your average institutional investor is not in there buying Bitcoin futures. And my buddies and I, we've been trying to trade the options contract. They won't let us. Like, oh, you assholes, you got them there, but you won't let us trade. You shit. Okay, I understand now. And so trust me, I'm going to watch the design of the Ethereum contract. I'll be reading about it. But if they make it so that, you got to settle up with 100 Ethereum, it's bullshit. It's not designed to be a hedge for the average retail investor.
Yeah. I remember going through the contracts at the cryptocurrency hedge fund to get onto the CME. I remember that. That was non-trivial. I think we got on though. I recall we had that as part of our hedge fund.
Yeah.
But it was not. It was a few Bitcoin.
No, again, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a way to get the spot market under control and a way to finally short the thing, because there was no way to short it.
Yeah.
And now you're watching this thing that's getting out of hand, right? We're watching it go from $1 billion to $25 billion in 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months, really? Decentralized banking? And there's 5 coins? So what I've been trying to tell folks, okay, so you got Bitcoin, you have Ethereum. You have 8,400 shit coins. Okay, so when I take a look at the shit coins at any given day, any one of those coins might have a good story around privacy, around decentralized banking, or we didn't even talk about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, right?
Yeah.
Literally, we got guys creating tokens, artists. I saw one artist got paid $60,000 for his I'm just looking at it. It's just crazy, right? Or NFTs around gaming systems. So I'm just sort of watching this space. I find it sort of fascinating in terms of how rapidly this stuff is evolving. But I do see the war between traditional banking and capitalism versus what's going on in this space. And so while there's a lot of positives, there are a lot of people who are going to get hurt when the Ethereum contract shows up. and they
Yeah.
they slam Ethereum down to $50, some crazy ass number.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, don't. I will tell the audience right now.
Oh no, I thought we were done.
Oh yeah, we are done. I'm sorry. I will cut out most of this, but some of this is gold. I'm sorry. I will cut out most of this. I shouldn't have surprised you. Yeah,
Oh
I should have told you at the beginning. I always leave the recorder on in case there's any, but I'll delete
no,
all
no,
of
that's fine. I'm just trying to be. What
it.
I don't want to do is I don't want Duffy and the CME police to come after me.
Yeah, yeah, don't worry about that. But I'll say right now, the when I was on the non-normal markets with
Right,
Bitcoin and people were shorting on like the international,
right,
we would watch, my analysts and I would watch shorts on Bitcoin just get creamed, and we knew
right,
it was intentional. It was an intentional creaming of
right.
all the shorts. So they're going to do the same thing on this futures market also. So be careful. Don't lose your 5 Ethereum or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just, I mean, it's going to be wild. I know it's going to be wild. But I just think going forward, and I try to explain this to folks, right? When I look at the S&P 500, and then I look at the Dow, right? Or even I play things like Dogs of the Dow. What is that about? That's about Six Sigma and best practices, knowing that at, at every given year, as best practices are designed and percolated in the S&P 5000, the best practices from an operational and a cost or business
Yeah.
policy perspective rises to the top.
Yeah.
And this is what I try to explain to folks on crypto back in 2017 and 18. I expect to see the same phenomena, except I expect to see it faster. So what do I mean? When I think of web or blockchain 1.0, I think of Bitcoin. When I think of blockchain 2.0, I think of proof of stake. It makes a lot of sense. And so while EOS may have had the lead in it, Vitalik adopted it. It might take him a couple of years to get it to Ethereum, but eventually Ethereum in a couple of years, I think we'll get to 1 million, 2 million, 30, 40 million transactions a day.
Yeah.
But it's because they're adopting Web 2.0. And then Web 3.0 is the hash graph, or blockchain 3.0 is hash graph. And that's only 3 or 4 trusted servers in a given more closed environment, not public environment. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so I expect to see business internally adopt Hashgraph and Web 3.0. I expect banking to accept the Ethereum and proof of stake, and that's where most of the transactions will end up. And then, Bitcoin will still be the store of value.
Yeah.
And then the transition I find sort of interesting. One of the interesting phenomena is they're called wrapped. Have you seen these wrapped coins?
Yeah, I've heard of them before. Yeah.
Yeah. So literally, you take one Bitcoin, put it in a wrapper, and run it on the Ethereum chain. And instead of Bitcoin fees, you're paying the Ethereum fees. Or I can take it, wrap it, put it on the EOS chain, and I can buy and sell and do everything against that, and I avoid all the mining fees.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm sort of seeing out there in that space. That's sort of an interesting space in terms of just newly developed as people are trying to think through what that means.
Yeah.
Am I ever going to wrap up one of my coins? Well, I only have a few, so I doubt I will get to that.
Oh man.
Let's see what else. Hey, I was up 10% my first week, man. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, it wasn't like that last week.
Yeah.
I started thinking 10% of my portfolio the first week, multiply that times 52. Am I going to make that kind of money this year? Yeah, probably. Hey, my flock have all done well too.
Good.
Yeah, the trading queens, they were up 30, 40%. One of them doubled their money. The fellas, which are 2 nephews, a son-in-law and a brother-in-law. Um, Two of them switched jobs, got promotions. Um, Both doubled the size of their accounts. So,
Nice.
and I'm always honest with them. I said, look, I don't, I always want you to try and do what we do in active investing in the market. And regardless of what you do for a day job, and then just understand something. Nobody's going to pay you more than you're willing to pay yourself.
Yeah.
But you do have to put the time in it. And if you tell me you're too busy to spend 15 minutes to actively manage your money, okay, but then, are you really making enough money? And, how do you cash flow it? So what I'm really trying to get them to understand is that they can balance that in their life. And so
This is like way big picture, but I have this belief, and I think that you'll agree with me on this, that as time goes on and it's getting easier and easier to invest, the acceptance that your salary has to has to also include you investing is going to get priced into people's salaries, I believe. I think the actual process of investing is going to start to be a requirement to keep your lifestyle as time goes on. That's a theory. Well, we'll
Well,
see what happens, but
I subscribe to it, but it's to me it's just multiple streams. It's the idea is whatever assets I have in my life, can I actually cash flow them? So what does that mean? I don't care if you're if you're going to pay rent and mortgage anyway, why not learn how to be an investor of real estate
yeah,
and acquire assets? I mean, same with the car. I can buy a car, but man, if I could really afford a Tesla, I can't wait to turn on the self-driving taxi and get that to cash flow.
yes,
I mean, so that's what I see sort of happen. It's just the mindset, right? And depending on my knowledge level, can I cash flow the money I got? And so what does that sort of look like? Whether I'm investing in Bitcoin or investing in the S&P 500 or I'm buying Tesla, right? It's just, can I, because it's money that I've earned, can I figure out a way to get it to appreciate as well as give me some sort of monthly cash flow? What does that look like?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't care if you make food or whatever. I got my youngest daughter just took up programming. I'm so proud of her. Are you
If you ever
familiar
want her
with
to, oh, go ahead.
Elevate 150?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, that's the programming house at Fisher's up at Lunch Fisher's.
Oh, okay. They're right next door to me,
Scott,
probably.
yeah, Scott Jones. That was Scott Jones. So the guy who invented voicemail, that's one of his projects. So they literally gave her a grant so she could take time out and learn programming. So I'm just really proud of her. I don't know what she's going to do with it. She's learning. She was learning user interfaces, which is good. And now
Oh,
she's learning all about APIs in this cohort this time. I'm like, all right, great.
well,
And
I'll hire.
I just send her some things, try to get her excited. So yeah,
So
go ahead.
if she's doing Angular 8, C Sharp, or Postgres, or Azure, um, you can send her my way. I know a little bit of all that stuff. I have a whole bunch of APIs that I can show her and show her RESTful and HTTP and all that. Our whole
No,
system's
she's literally,
APIs.
yeah, she's literally learning what an API is.
Yeah,
Yeah, so she's just started out, and her back, that wasn't her background. I was just proud of her. She's going for it. I
good.
sent her Elon Musk's GPT-3. Have you seen that?
I
Google
think
it,
you,
man.
yeah, I think you told this to me. Is this the auto coding stuff or is this something
Yeah,
else? Yeah.
yes. I'm telling you, it's wild. This thing will dynamically build websites for you, databases, and the app code, and
Yep.
give you. You could do. I mean, I'm looking at that. They got version 4 coming. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I
I
told
mean,
her. Yeah, go ahead.
it's pretty amazing. I obviously my belief is you can't do that with our system, but maybe I'm wrong. But for me to write for me to write a new data, like add to the database a new table or all
Right.
that stuff,
Yeah.
it's a snap. It's so easy. I really literally write one class with the names of the columns. I put the
Right.
indexes in,
Sure. Sure.
and I can do it on multiple computers, multiple servers. It's
Right.
all streamlined. So yeah,
Well, I mean, that's what I mean, take a look at it. I
yeah,
told her to take a look at it and play with it. And I said, so here's the idea. Um, Whether you really understand the nuances of, C++ versus Java versus whatever, right?
yeah,
I'd much rather have you focus on what your skill set is. So go play with this system and see if it can generate code for you. Go
yeah,
play. It's free. Go play with it.
yeah. Because what the problem like happens, right? I'm guessing. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm guessing like it's good for a small website, a really small one. When you start to try to scale, things get interesting. And there's
Right, of
things with like
course.
the queries, for example, how you query the
Sure.
database. If you don't do the query correctly,
Of
you're going to
course.
crash your server.
Right.
And it may not be intuitive what you're trying to tell the computer to write the query of and so forth. And
Sure,
I think
sure. I
that's
agree with
where
all that.
4.0, 5.0 is going to start to probably, really improve on.
Yep. So anyway, it's sort of interesting to watch her dip her toe into this space. So, and I told her, I think she wants to go to veterinary school eventually. I said, here's the thing. You understand this and you will be a more valued employee no matter where you go,
Yeah.
because you'll be able to make that device that you're either typing on or you're holding in your hand or you're talking to
Yeah.
work on your behalf. So anyway, I hope she sticks with it and, apply some stuff. I did. So I was asking her about AI and she said, oh, well, I'd probably have to go get a master's or something. And so I started auditing MIT's AI course, and I'm looking at it and I'm listening. By the way, there's a gorgeous babe there. I love just listening to her talk about AI for hours.
We're definitely going to remove that part of the video. Don't want to call from your wife or anything.
Yeah. No, I'm just having it. I'm playing it in the background because I'm trying to see if there's anything new in this stuff. Having been a hack and a programmer myself back in the day, it's just like, okay, what are we really talking about here when we talk about AI and the various programming models that support it, whether
Yeah.
it's language based or image image recognition based, etc. So I do find it sort of fascinating, but because MIT's giving it away for free, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, it's free, so go ahead. And
It's
yeah, I
crazy.
don't know if you caught this. Did you see that Elon Musk gave Khan Academy? Oh,
Yeah,
I
$5
told you
million.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you
I
see
read
it?
about it
It's
afterwards. Yeah.
been all over, man. I'm telling you, I still think if you go ask him, he'll give you something. 'Cause and speaking of, I'm doing it now with my fellas because I was bragging last week with the fellas that, hey, I made 10% of my money, and so my nephew was like, well, Unc, I made 20%.
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
right.
really? 20? I said, all right, this is what we're going to do. Once a month, we're going to see how much do we grow our accounts, and we're going to take it, divide it, and figure out what our ROI is, return on investment is. And whoever wins the month gets an attaboy from me, like a slap on the back. Hey. but who does win, if you do win, you owe everybody a beer. You got to get everybody's address and send a beer to their house. So we'll see how that plays out.
I'll tell you what I did at the hedge fund. I was
Yeah.
very Machiavellian.
Yeah.
I had, I think, 5 remote analysts, and we all gave them crypto accounts, and we said, trade it. And we literally were like fighting, and whoever had like the worst portfolio, we would not give them any more money, and you'd only get more money if you
Oh, I like that.
did well. So yeah, so if someone lost like 50% of their account, which really happened, we
Yeah.
weren't going to give you more money. That's it.
Right.
So when we get more funds from people, like, and we distribute it, you weren't
Yeah,
getting more money. And so
right.
like I think we had something where like we started to pay people based on how big their accounts were. And yeah, we
Okay.
we got very Machiavellian about that. I fired some people that weren't performing. I was like, forget you, you suck. Get out.
No, that
You're the
makes sense,
worst.
man. Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely.
I like
I
the
like
carrot
that.
for your plan, but we were doing sticks and carrots, that's for sure.
I try to do something like that with the kids, with my daughters, but none of them treated it as real. So case in point, I originally thought instead of giving out Amazon gift cards this year, I'd give them each $50 worth of Bitcoin. So I went and interviewed all my daughters, but the one who swayed me was the one with the 2 grandkids. She's like, Daddy, my husband, he's got all the crypto. He's been listening to you. I want real money I can spend on the kid. I was like, okay. All right. All right.
What you can do, if you
I
want
did.
to really trick your
What?
daughters into making you money on on their trades, you could tell them, hey, I'm going to give you all accounts. And if you do well, I'm going to put more money in your account and we'll split the earnings 50-50 on all accounts. But if you're not doing well, I'm not giving you more money until you start performing more and see how they react to that. You might start, when you start putting $1,000 in a month on someone's account and they're like, ooh, okay,
Well,
maybe
I
they'll
only have one daughter who's actually trading every day. And I like that. I mean, she calls me, Daddy, I need to roll this, flip that, do that. So the other ones, Chrissy's going to teach us. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, there's probably some right balance in there. I think I blew it in the beginning when I gave the money and assumed that they would be, interested enough to do it and follow it. And that really didn't manifest.
Oh man, I'm
So,
sorry.
no, I think what happens is it's I always talk about it. It's the laws of attraction, right? It's like you can always show somebody a different way to manifest stuff in their life, but if they don't, right? Don't take pain if they don't.
Yeah.
But you did your Christian. But when the timing is right, they will come back to you. And this
Yeah.
pandemic, oh my gosh, they all came back.
Got nothing else to do. I need to trade.
Oh no, what happened? The one daughter out of DC, she has 2 day jobs. She teaches special ed. She still does English overnight to some kids out of Shanghai. She makes more money doing that.
Yeah.
But she grew her account 40% this year.
Nice.
All right. And then she got 5 of her girlfriends to come with her and drag 2 or 3 of her sisters along. And
Nice.
I was like, okay. And what was it? She goes, well, I'm in the house and all this. And then at first it was, Daddy, this is all you do. And now it's like, oh, Daddy, this is all, oh, Daddy.
That's how you make money. I see now.
Yeah, the more they do. So I've been watching them. And so what I try to do when I even do my sessions with them, while I write that crazy ass musing, that maybe that's for my Tuesday morning group. We really not discuss that. I just have honest conversations. What are you trying to do? What are you interested in? What do you want to look at? And I let them decide what they have interest in. And then if they have an interest in something, we'll try and build an investment strategy around it. And so I got them all to buy cryptos at underneath 10,000, under Bitcoin, underneath 10. So they're happy. Like,
Good.
okay, and I'm trying to get them not to spend, but we'll see. If they want to get rid of it, they can. I got them all to dump their real estate. So, because I knew what was coming, but I don't know if you saw that Biden is going to extend the moratorium until September. If I'm a real
Really?
estate investor, that sort of fucking sucks.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm lucky. I have military in my rental, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
But I mean, I have a cousin who works in real, all of this, and he's like, yeah, no one's paying money right now. And it's like,
exactly.
that's bad.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at this, and then I'm watching one of my boys. They're working with the Chicago Housing Authority. I think they bought 1,200 doors, apartment, whatever.
Yeah.
Half of them were rented out. It's Chicago, so it's half of them are probably all Section 8 anyway.
Yeah.
So I think they're spending 12,500 a door to acquire, and they're doing all cash,
Yeah.
and maybe 15,000 to upgrade.
Yeah.
That's like under, that's 30,000, there's 35. Oh my gosh, they're gonna make a killing off of this, because
Yeah.
once COVID's getting cured, okay, eventually, things will, whether it's a vaccine or the ivermectin or whatever the hell it is, right? Um, those units that are going for all cash at these levels are, especially with the dollar devaluing and interest rates staying low, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like there are deals that are going to be made.
I mean, $12,000 a house. That means that, I mean, you're going to make your money back
That's
in
an
either a
apartment,
year,
so those are
apartment, excuse me.
multi-units. Yeah,
Yeah.
so but
So
still, right?
you're making your money back in a year or 2 years at most. That's amazing.
For
You're
well, I'm
not
just
spending,
everybody's following what's his name, the Quicken Loan dude that went to downtown Detroit. He
uh-huh.
acquired $1 billion worth of buildings for 10 cents on the dollar.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's what we're about to see across America right now.
I mean, that Detroit play, to give him credit. I don't know the details of it, by the way, but I've been watching Detroit for a decade now, and
Right.
that wasn't a safe bet back in 2012, 2013. I mean, it was crumbling. It was bad. I
Right.
mean,
Right. Of course.
I kept on seeing these deals. I'm like, I can't. I'm not going up to Detroit to get these. No,
Right.
you need someone that's going to go in and do it. Someone that's going to put $1 billion in to really make that
Well, he
happen.
did do that. He moved his employees. He had 15,000 of them. He put them in those buildings.
Yeah.
So, and then he worked with the local city for security and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting to see something similar to that this cycle. Yeah, because right now I'm watching property values for certain types of stuff in New York or San Francisco just plummet, right?
Yeah.
And then the rents which were way overpriced, those are sort of coming down. And then where we live, we're sort of in the suburbs, and I think the demographic shift associated with COVID is over. We saw a lot of it, but I think for the most part it's done. Now that people know there is an answer. And the example I just give folks is when they sort of look at me like I'm crazy, what are you talking about? I said, well, in Australia, they had 2 deaths now in 90 days because of COVID. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They only had 2 deaths. Or you take a look at the one province I look at in India all the time, which is the California of India.
Mm-hmm.
There's 200 million people in that one province, that one state, and they've only had, you ready for this?
How many?
850 deaths total.
Wow.
That's it for 200 million people.
Unbelievable.
My doctor buddy just sent me a link, and I guess the NIH last week changed their stance on ivermectin, saying, oh, we said it wasn't part of standard treatment. Well, what we're going to say now is, hey, we need to study the data. We'll make a formal recommendation, but if the patient wants it and the doctors want it, by all means, go save a life.
Yeah.
I was like, and that just happened last week. So I knew it happened once, the administration would swap out.
This is incredible. I'm looking at Australia right now, by the way. It's incredible. I mean, you're right. Only 3 deaths, 4 deaths.
Yeah, 4 deaths in 4 months.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Right.
Absolutely incredible.
And they've been telling everybody what they're doing, right? And they're not going to roll out vaccines till February or March.
Yeah.
Right? Because no one dies.
Yeah. If no one dies, then what's the point? Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not overwhelming the hospital. So I'm watching it live. I just saw this story. I don't know if I'm going to share it on Facebook. There was an 80-something-year-old lady who was in the ICU on a respirator, right? So her son went in there and got the doctor in that unit to give her ivermectin. In 2 days, they took her off the ventilator. They moved her out of the ICU, different part of the hospital. That doctor over there didn't want to give it to her in the same hospital. No, that's not approved. We're not going to give it to her. And then she started declining again. So he went to the Supreme Court
Wow.
to force the doctor to give her the drug she needs. She got her ivermectin, she's fine, and she's breathing. It's like, this is crazy. What the hell's going on with our medical systems so that something that works, that's low cost, it's just crazy. Anyway, I was just watching that today. It's on, I'm just watching. It's
That
like,
is
that's
really
crazy. But
crazy.
if that's what you got to do, you probably saw that story in Indiana of the black doctor lady who was
Mhm.
pleading for, can I get some off-book treatment? I can't breathe. And the doctor said, well, we're sending you home.
You know
Anyway,
what it is? You know what it
she
is, Matt?
died. Yeah.
Not to get into politics and it's not really politics, but it's the insurance companies. I'm guessing that's what it is. It's the insurance companies just trying to control things and
But
yeah.
the insurance companies, it's a $7 solution. Used to be $2. Now it's $7 a pill. If I'm an
Yeah,
insurance company, if I could give you a $7 pill to clear you so that you'd get out of ICU and all that, then I don't have to pay those bills. I'm telling you, the insurance companies aren't the cause of this. I think this is more about what happens, like everybody's talking about, well, we need to do a real test, right? There's like 45 tests going on. And they're taking a look and they're like, oh, that's about 2,000-3,000. We need 30,000 people. We need to do this. And see, here's the thing: to do a phase 3, 30,000 people cost a couple $1 million. Well, who's going to foot that bill?
yeah,
There's no pharmaceutical company that has interest in propagating a pill that already works that they
yeah,
can't make money on. So it's just crazy. And that's what the disconnect is.
yeah,
So, and to say 30,000 people, what does that mean? 30,000 people in a hospital. So half of them will get it and half of them won't. So that means of the 30,000, let's say a quarter of them get on ventilators. Oh shit, and 86% of them die. That is crazy. Why do you need to see another 5,000 to 6,000 dead Americans before you say this shit really works? That
yeah,
is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And this probably goes back 20 years because I lost my first wife to lung cancer.
oh no,
And I looked at all the treatments that were coming. I found more information in the UK and in Japan than I did in America.
yeah,
And then when I found out that most of the drugs they did worked out fine if you're a white male who smoked. Oh, they had advanced lung treatments. But if you're a black female, man, none for you. Matter of fact, they didn't like testing women. They didn't even like testing female guinea pigs. I guess a plumbing out. So so to see, actually, I'm sort of I made a prediction, and I think now that Biden comes in, and I love this team he's put together of
yeah,
scientists, and they believe in the data, and they'll review the data. Sure, let's do the vaccines for as a prophylactic or whatever, right? But then let's make sure we use ivermectin with the other stuff you're supposed to do to cure people, because it works as a treatment. At least it does in Australia and India and Israel, Brazil and Argentina. It's just, I mean, just because I live in America, what I got different biology? I don't think so.
no,
All right, man, I got nothing for you. So enjoyed it, and look, I'll share it with my group whenever you post it. So
yep. I'll probably put up no later than this weekend, probably sooner.
all right.
Especially the crypto going nuts. So
Yeah,
thanks, man.
crypto's going nuts. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got I love do you ever watch Crypto Casey? I put her in my musing. She's gorgeous. Oh, by the way, she's gorgeous. And for the old guys, at least I can get them to watch crypto. I got half of them doing crypto, man. I got half out on like 30. That was my goal. When I started this, it was like only 3 or 4, maybe 5. Now I got half of them. I'm like, okay, great. And I told him once he got 20, when he hit 42, I said, okay, this is FOMO. Oh, well, how do I get started? Here, just watch crypto. Casey. Oh, she's gorgeous. Yeah, listen to her.
Whatever
Yeah,
works,
listen to
man.
me. That's all right. Listen to her. All right, my man. Peace.
Thank you. Have a good
Talk to
day.
you. Bye.